Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Garmin Farming, where today we're going to be grinding out some more contracts to try and get ourselves into a position where we can buy some of our own equipment. The goal for this episode is to reach 30k. I will be using workers as soon as I get to around about 15,000, just so we can start doubling up on some contracts. Now I can only take 3 contracts at a time, as you're all aware, so there will be a lot of pinging back and forth between different vehicles to try and get some things done in a bit of a quicker time frame. But if FS25 has taught us anything, it is this: speed is not what counts. You just got to enjoy it, enjoy the journey. But with that being said, let's speed this up and get a few contracts under our belts. See you shortly. And there we go, the end of the first contract of this episode. I should clock us just over the 15,000 and open up the self-imposed barrier of using workers. I think a good place to start would probably be some weeding. After all, we can just hire our workers, take them down there, let them crack on while we get some bale wrapping done. And that's how bale wrapping done. So let's cash that in. I think it works out at 5,500. Takes us over the 20,000 mark in the bank, which is an absolute win. So let's see if we can push that further. Pick up some bigger contracts. This looks pretty good. I think we'll double up the 2 canola contracts so we can use the same equipment. Save us a pretty penny doing that. Money that we can use elsewhere. And there's our worker bee cracking on. Let's get to it. And there you have it for episode 2, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think we'll push it much further. I think we've definitely achieved our aim today. Let's have a quick look, see how much it all comes in at. $36,000. Fantastic. That sets us up nicely for episode 3. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.